Hello and welcome back to the When You're podcast, the podcast for when you're doing anything. Today we're talking about when you're watching The Dark Knight. Now, I'm not going to go into like this whole deep analytical, kind of, but only for a few scenes. There are a lot of videos and people talking about this movie in like a very deep, and they break it down a heck of a lot better than I do. And they're also just like, they have it visually on YouTube and in other places. So I feel like more so I'm going to just kind of talk about some of my favorite scenes and my thoughts about them, about this movie, rather than give you like a full breakdown of the entire movie, because I could just go on and on and on and on and on with this movie, because it's so amazing the way that it was. First of all, the dialogue is really amazing. I find that so many times watching it and rewatching it, I'm always just like, man, did he really? I completely forgot he said those lines. Or the certain way that the certain way that, I don't want to say the conversation flows. I think in the way that the characters interact with one another, it just feels so genuine. It doesn't feel like acting. It feels like I'm really looking at a real moment, a real scene. No, what's it called? No forced interaction between these two. It's like this was meant to happen. These characters are supposed to face off here. These people, these two are, namely the Batman and the Joker. And by the way, spoilers for this movie. If you haven't watched Batman Begins, you're not going to get this movie either. So, spoilers for both movie, but whatever. So first things first I want to talk about is obviously the opening, the Joker opening, where he goes to steal some of the mob's money. I don't remember how much it was. I think it was like $5-6 million, which I don't get me wrong, is a lot, but like considering how much they actually have, it's not that crazy. But anyways, we start off with the Joker, and this is kind of I don't want to say a bad thing, but we don't see him operating. I guess he never really operates solo. He has like little lackeys to do his dirty work. But in this particular one, it's weird because it is a team effort. It is all of them cooperating and working with one another in order to achieve a goal. Now, you would think that the Joker would be off in some hideaway place watching all of this go down, and in the unfortunate event that they get caught or something bad happens and they just, for whatever reason, they just can't, They just can't get the money, or the cops come, or they get foiled. Their plan gets foiled, essentially. But watching the movie, obviously you know and you understand his character. There is no room for failure. There's maybe unexpected moments, but there's nothing that can't be handled or is out of reason. So anyways, it begins with teamwork, and it's not something that you really expect from the Joker, especially because he is a one man, I don't want to say one man army. He's very crafty, and he's not he's not the kind of person who needs a group. He's kind of like a do-it-yourself. But in this particular instance, he's smart enough to know that in order to achieve this goal, he needs a group of people to help him. And in the same kind of way, it ends up with him being alone anyways, him solo, him running off with the money by himself. So first he makes this team. He makes this team of Jokers. And then, on top of that, he has to remove said team. So not only is he clever enough to figure out, okay, this is how we're going to... First he has to figure out, okay, we have to go to the bank. We have to figure out which one are the mob's money. And then after we steal from them, we have to get rid of the not the marked bills. They have to get rid of any and every obstacle in their way And in the process, we're also going to take out each and every single person in line with us. So the goal was always to rob the bank and then kill each and every single person as the tasks get completed. Now, let's say they got wise to this early on, and they, well, let's just say things didn't go according to plan, then everything is ruined, right? But we know that the certain events had to happen in order for everything to take place. So anyways, he has to work as a team, and then he has to remove his team, and then the unexpected happens. One of the tellers decides to get, brave, or he decides to try to be a hero in some way, but I think he's more motivated by fear or being controlled by the mob's thumb, because they essentially run the city, and they're stealing the mob's money. So they're kind of, in his own way, he's like, you have no idea what you're doing. You guys don't understand. Like, these people, they will kill you. They'll find you and they'll hunt you down, So he's kind of like, if you don't believe in like fear, if you don't believe in, you guys are dead by doing this, what controls you? What do you believe in? And then he just says, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stranger. So it's kind of like this, weird introduction where he's not, he's just wiped out his team, but at the same time, the unexpected happens, and yet he's still in control, So even though everything has happened, he's still very much in charge, and you feel that menacing vibe coming from him after he's just robbed the bank, put that guy in his place, killed his whole team, and he gets away with all the money on his own. And then the getaway. So he also had to plan the getaway. He took a school bus, and then it just blended in with the environment. It blended in with the scene. In the real world, I think, obviously, the police would know that that his what's it called? His bus was the one with all the money and that just like came out from the bank. Like, I think they would know that, but given the circumstances, he just gets away, he blends in, and nobody knows, nobody's the wiser. So anyways, that's just the opening. So it's just a full representation of like, okay, this is what we're going to get if this is the beginning. So now we get introduced to, well, not introduced, but we kind of learn or understand, okay, this is where Gotham is at the start of the movie, or like, what has been Batman's impact since the first movie? Because, Batman did a lot in the first movie, but he also was just brand spanking new. Like, he just popped onto the scene. Like, we saw him make some big changes, but we didn't really get to see the aftermath of all of it. And what we know about Gotham is that it's got a bunch of criminals from the mob, and they're selling illegal drugs, weapons, all kinds of stuff. So this is a crucial point for Gotham to get their criminals off the street, for them to stop crime, for Batman to fully stop crime and help the city rebuild itself, help the city get to where it needs to be, get the city moving forward, progressing, not taking a step back, not going back into like a economic depression or whatever, seeing the city suffer. Instead, we get to see the city flourish. We get to see the city rise above the crime and stop focusing so much on, the street level violence, stopping the street level drug deals. They can go straight to the source of all of it, cut it off at the head, and then after all of that, they can essentially save the city And by them, I don't just mean, you know, Batman. I mean the whole entirety of the Gotham Police Force, led by Jim Gordon, or at least the good ones, and the new district attorney, Harvey Dent. And we'll get to him soon. But we realize now that because of Batman's good work, because Batman has really been out there and active in changing and fighting the city, you know, he has really been able to put a shift or take away some of the control that was held in Gotham. So now it's a matter of, okay, we have to get the drugs and we have to get these criminals off the street. That's our number one priority. We have to work as a team. We have to work together in order to get this accomplished, in order to get it done. Because I think it was in the first movie, they locked up, was it Falcone? I forget who was really on, who really got arrested, or like how many people, maybe it was the Maronis. I forget. But anyways, they're on trial, whatever. And it's supposed to be trying to figure out, okay, well, who's in charge here? Somebody's in charge. Somebody has to be who stepped up. There's too much money involved in the drug game for them to just run away. And that's where we get the scene where he's in Harvey Dent's in court with Rachel Dawes, and they're interrogating. The guy pulls a gun on him. He punches him in the face, and he needs to know more. You know, kind of a cool scene. Great moment. I think it was a great moment. Good showing of Harvey Dent's character, and kind of like what Rachel Dawes and Harvey Dent have been building together and been working towards, with the cooperation of, well, not cooperation of, but with the assistance of Batman, is that they're able to pull everything towards them. They're able to get solid evidence and make a clear-cut case, but they have to do everything perfectly. They have to do everything by the book, and they have to make sure that things line up perfectly. So it's not just about, it's about cleaning the city. It's about cleansing it of the mold that has kind of lingered there for a long, long time. And because of that, it takes a lot of exceptional work, and it takes a whole team to make it happen. So after that day in court, Jim Gordon meets with Harvey Dent, and they both kind of go like, yeah, listen, we need Batman. You know, Harvey's like, I want to meet him. I need to know what's going on in the city. I need to know what, if I'm going to put away the criminals in the city, there has to be cooperation amongst all of us, especially because there are corrupt people in Gotham and in certain structures, and you have to rely on the good people in order to make it really stick, in order to know that everybody is on the same side here. They want to save Gotham City. They want to clean Gotham. So now the mob is freaking out. They just got all their money stolen. They have no idea what to do now, and they're completely not in hiding, but they're not as powerful as they once were. Sorry. And so now they just got their money stolen. The cops are all over them, and who knows what's going to happen to all of their money if they get figured out. They know that they're going to get raided, and they know that if that happens, right, they have to figure out a way to avoid. They have to figure out how to avoid jail time, essentially. So that's when the Joker reappears, and he emerges, and he tells them, listen, your real enemy in this whole fight against the police, against the district attorney, against the law, is the Batman, because he can do what they can't. The cops can't just barge into your home. The cops can't just do whatever they want willy-nilly, but the Batman can. the Batman can crash into this warehouse. The Batman can sneak up on you at night, and he drags you out into the light where the cops can see you, the cops can catch you, and everything else works out for them. So it's really an interesting scene, and it's a great moment between the Joker and the mob. But that's where we learned that Lau has already taken their money to Hong Kong out of the banks because they knew that they were going to come for the mob, and by going after them, they were going to be able to arrest them. They were able to catch them all in a conspiracy together. They were able to figure out that, like, oh, all of these people are working together, we can lock them all up. So Lau goes to Hong Kong. He takes the money, puts it away somewhere that only he knows, and by going to Hong Kong, the Chinese won't extradite their own person for the crimes in Gotham, so he's safe. But Joker wisely points out, well, that's where the Batman comes in, everybody. We have to kill Batman to stop him from going to Hong Kong, getting Lau, and having him spilling the beans on everything. He'll tell them everything he knows to avoid jail time. He'll lock all of you guys up, and he'll get away home free to China. You know, he'll be perfectly fine. So when all of that doesn't work, you know what I mean? When the Joker is proven right, when Batman goes to Hong Kong, he gets Lau, he gets him back to Gotham City where he's going to jail. Well, he's in holding, essentially. And they know that, like, he is going to blab his big fat mouth, and everybody's ruined. And they're going to get him on a RICO case. So if they can charge one of the fellows with a conspiracy or like with a felony, they can charge everybody in there with it. So that's how they get them. And blah, yada, yada, yada. They essentially, everything goes according to, once they hire the Joker, essentially, everything falls into his plan. And he's really big on the Joker. The Joker's just knocking him down like dominoes. He's hitting it, and it's just all falling down as he so pleases. So now I just kind of want to skip a little bit forward, because the next part of the well, not the next part, but the next part of the movie, we just kind of see what the Joker has been doing to set everything up, to put the city into a panic. So he's obviously going for certain authority figures that are not the district attorney. Well, eventually he does go for. But he's going for everything that is the authority of the city. So he goes after the police commissioner. He goes after the judge that tries all of the criminals into one case. He tries to go after who else? The mayor. He also tries to go after Harvey Dent. He also tries to go after. I mean, it's just everybody all at once. But I want to go I want to go forward in the movie to the boat scene. This is a very crucial scene, because that whole boat scene between those two boats represents Gotham's good citizens and their goodness, their capacity to be good, for the city to really change with them. Because we see Bruce Wayne, we see Batman really fight for Gotham. He really tortures himself, and he gives his body to suffer so that he could protect the city that he loves. But we very rarely, I guess not rarely, but we don't really get to see the city itself, the people in the city, be good. We don't get to see the goodness that he talks about. In the last movie, he kind of talked about, like, let me give me a chance. There are still good people here. I still have time. And Ra's al Ghul just kind of tells him, no, there is no time. They're corrupted. They're terrible. They have to be destroyed to be rebuilt again. That's the way that it has to be. And through this scene, we kind of see the goodness that Bruce is talking about. We see the good that Batman is trying to protect, to heal, So That's what that boat scene represents. And not only is that what it represents, it kind of shows it. You know, the whole thing is not. It's not the entirety of Gotham. You know, those boats aren't an accurate representation of all of Gotham. It's really only one boat, and the other one are a bunch of prisoners, but they're still people of Gotham City. So given that they're not the entirety of it, it's very likely, you know, because sometimes they put like the whole state of the world at balance and so on, but because it's not, because it's very much just those boats that are on the line here, they could have very well died. You know, they very well could have killed each other, but they didn't. And it took all of Joker's planning and threats and kind of like understanding the way that the people of Gotham were going to react to what he's been doing is how he's able to scare them all into that moment, how he's able to push everybody to that moment. And by doing that, they were able to get into that position. But in the end, he realizes he's alone. He's miserable. He's the only one who's really bad. He's the only one who's really just like not right. You know, everybody else is able to have empathy and to have compassion and to really care for one another. Whereas the Joker, he's just kind of realizing or seeing that when they don't blow each other up, he has to do it himself because he's the only one who doesn't care. He's the only one who's stands there by himself and can honestly just kill. And the rest of them can't. So after the Joker is dealt with by Batman, which is also another great scene, but Joker knows that to destroy Gotham City is not, you know, blowing up those boats or fighting Batman. It's Harvey Dent. It's about all of the work that they've done and they put into him. Because without Harvey Dent, they don't make any cases. Batman's not a public figure. He's a vigilante. Nobody trusts him. Nobody wants to trust him. Nobody believes in him. But they can believe in Harvey Dent. They can put hope into Harvey Dent and the good things that he's done. They can't put it into Jim Gordon. It has to be Harvey. But he broke Harvey Dent. And in doing so, it leads Harvey Dent to kidnap Jim Gordon's family. And then essentially what he tries to do is he tries to break the rest of them in a way. Or he tries to get them to open their eyes to all of the things that they've done together. Why is it that Harvey Dent is the only one suffering in pain, seeking vengeance, wanting revenge? And he thinks that tipping the scale or, you know, leaving people's fates up to chance is somehow morally right because it's the same chance that he got and Rachel. But fortunately, Jim Gordon is not alone in this. Jim Gordon wants to... If it was just Jim Gordon versus Harvey Dent, Jim might have lost. But it was also Batman. So it's the three of them all connected. And that's how you realize it's that moment of we acted, we all put ourselves in this position, and now it's the three of us who are responsible. So the kid, you know, Jim Gordon's son, who's held at gunpoint, doesn't deserve to be punished. He wasn't a part of it. He's the future of this city. He cannot be pushed to this point. So in that moment, you see them all try to take accountability. And in doing so, Harvey Dent shoots Batman. Doesn't, you know, he tries to shoot himself. He might have, but he didn't. And then it was going to be Jim Gordon's son to make him suffer. And then Batman saves his son. And Harvey Dent dies. So then it's left to this final choice. What can Batman really endure? What can Batman really do for this city? And he knows he can be whatever the city needs him to be. He can be a murderer. He can be, he can be somebody for everybody to hate. Because in doing so, they're able to believe in Harvey Dent. They're able to believe in this lie that they're concocting. And we'll see the effects of their lie in the next movie. But overall, this whole movie is just it just shows the lengths that Batman is willing to go to, that Bruce Wayne is willing to go to, the sacrifices that need to be made in order to make the city great, in order to make the city new. And he's the Dark Knight because he doesn't have to be this perfect, clean-cut superhero like Superman. He doesn't have to be that. But he has to be what Gotham needs him to be in order to bear the weight of Harvey Dent's faults and mistakes. And this lie will carry on to the next movie, and we'll see the repercussions of it all. But I think this movie has been... I don't remember... I mean, I remember watching it as a kid. I was like 8 or 9. I think I was 8 years old when I watched it. And I was just into it to see Batman fight. And then over time, you come to grow into the movie and you learn to love it for its deeper themes, the message, and like the psychology of Bruce Wayne again, just learning the different motives and what drives people, what pushes people to their breaking point. And it's so complicated. It gets so messy. There's so much gray. It's not just what's good and what's bad. It's about trying to find that balance of like, I have to clear any gray from this area to make it this thing. And so that's why I think The Dark Knight is such an amazing movie. And it's also just good action. It's great, good suspense, I feel. And it just makes you think about, what are you willing to do for the people you love or the things that you care about, Are you willing to sacrifice everything? Or are you willing to sacrifice only a little bit? Or what are you willing to do for it, And in doing those actions and taking action, do you face up to the responsibility? Or do you try to like hide away? Do you not want to see it through to the end, essentially? But yeah, that's why I think The Dark Knight is such an incredible movie. And it's definitely a movie I come back and visit every now and then because, if you constantly watch it, you kind of like, you lose a little bit of the, I don't want to say magic, but you do lose kind of some of you lose a piece of the movie because you know it so well. Whereas like if you watch it, you let sit down for a little while, you don't watch it for a little bit, then you come back to it, you're like, man, this movie is so good. I know it's so good, but it's just like, every now and then you just need to revisit it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Go watch The Dark Knight. Go watch Batman Begins, The Dark Knight. Go watch all of it. All right? And then obviously we'll talk about the next movie in the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy next time. So look forward to that. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.